Welcome back. You're watching ED Inside. FDI in multi-brand retail or not? That's the tricky question facing lawmakers in India. At the heart of that question is the fate of millions of Kiranawalas who say that they will be wiped out by the entry of foreign retailers. Are their fears exaggerated? Nikhil Sivadas finds out.
It's just another day at the shop around the corner for 35-year-old Sujata. Armed with a monthly grocery budget of 2,000 rupees, she's on the lookout for a good deal on good products. With a large supermarket in her neighborhood, you would imagine that she's spoiled for choice. Yet here she is, shopping at a friendly neighborhood Kiranawala. So what is it that she gets here and not at a bigger store?
मैं कभी भी जब भी टाइम मिलता है मैं आ सकती हूँ ऑन द वे इट इज़ सो स्पेशली टाइम निकाल के जाना पॉसिबल नहीं है जो वर्किंग लेडीज़ है मोस्टली सेकेंडली यहाँ पे क्रेडिट मिलता है कि मिडिल क्लास लेडीज़ के लिए बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है यहाँ पे अगर हम लोग को कुछ रिटर्न करना हो हम लोग रिटर्न कर सकते हैं.
If that is what the customer is looking for, then small stores should have little to worry about as far as foreign investment in retail is concerned. According to FDI Watch, a group that's fighting FDI in retail, India's 12 million Kiranawalas, who employ about 24 million people, are struggling to compete with modern retail. And allowing FDI will make matters worse and perhaps lead them to losing their livelihood.
FDI multi-brand retail is not needed at all. It neither creates jobs, nor it brings in technology, nor it expands your production base. But what it brings is disaster, as it has brought everywhere in the world, disaster for the communities, disaster for the ecology, disaster for the livelihood. So we don't think that FDI in retail is any alternative to the existing problems that we are facing, including the problem of inflation.
And the Federation of Associations of Maharashtra agree.
Once the small shopkeepers in the surrounding areas are silenced or are sort of put out of business, these large multinationals fix up their own price and then there is no argument on that. So once they are in a monopolistic position, they try to squeeze the consumers. This is irrevocably the situation wherever they are functioning.
But a deeper look into the fight will tell you why those fears are perhaps exaggerated. First, let's address the issue of customers turning their backs on these stores.
Whether it's home delivery, whether it's credit, whether it is dropping off, individual SKUs. So all these things are individualized and personalized to their consumer. So if anything, I think organized retail can learn a better appreciation for the consumer from our Kirana shops.
If you need small things, then probably you will not go to a mall or to a big organized retailer. You may just go to these mom and pop stores or the Kiranawalas so-called, and they still have their dominance in the sector. So I would say that the system has been profitable because of their reach to various consumers.
And it's no ordinary reach, mind you, because mom and pop stores account for more than 90% of all retail, and one can start and run a small store with little capital.
Organized trade today is hard pressed to match that level of service. Be it in the home delivery or be it in the khata or so many other, just knowing their customers so well, that is something which the Indian unorganized guy, the Kirana, has perfected over many years. I don't think organized retailers can, match up.
Kiranawala understands what vendors across the world understand very well, the street vendors and the small vendors, which is a rotation of money. So the way they manage their inventories, the range architecture is fantastic. They may not have a huge range available, but the range is so relevant to the local catchment. They manage their inventories, the range architecture is fantastic. They may not have a huge range available, but the range is so relevant to the local catchment that they rotate that so beautifully that they end up making money. And this advantage they will always have.
The Kirana stores have very deep understanding of the Indian consumer. The service levels are very high. I don't see them sort of just losing out just because the investment doors open, because there's much more to retail than just pure investments.
Next, let's address the fear of falling sales and unviable business opportunities. To begin with, real estate, which is the biggest cost for any retailer, works to the advantage of the small store. That's because they require an average of 300 to 500 square feet of space in a residential area versus a minimum of 2,000 square feet that an organized retailer requires. The non-availability and high rentals of large spaces puts organized retail at a disadvantage as far as location is concerned. And that in turn ensures that the Kiranawala's relationship with households is intact.
We will have real estate challenges. You're not going to find real estate right next to your homes. The small mom and pop stores are within the vicinity and the colony. They will keep serving.
If you look at the top 10 cities or top 12 cities, there is no way a supermarket or a hypermarket can open all across the place because there is no space available. So the smaller retailers will have to become integral part of the modern retailing system.
And if all that is not enough, there's the Chinese example to take heart from. China saw small retail businesses grow by 30% between 1992 and 2002 when it partially permitted FDI in retail. That was primarily on the back of improved supply chain facilities and infrastructure that came because of FDI. India could well treat FDI in retail as a similar opportunity.
The opening up of retail, large retail will invest not only in the front end of the business but also in the back end supply chain infrastructure, which benefits the industry as a whole, not only the large retailers.
So FDI in multi-brand retail could be a win-win situation for Kiranawalas and organized retailers. But does that mean that mom and pop stores can survive in their current avatar? Perhaps not. But as more products hit the market and shopping habits change, these stores will have to reinvent themselves to continue being profitable. And sooner rather than later, they'll have to embrace technology to adapt to the changing retail landscape.
So allowing FDI in multi-brand retail may not be as bad as some make it out to be. In fact, it may even help solve some of the problems of modern retail. What are these problems? We'll tell you after this short break. Don't go away.
40% of our produce goes to waste because there is no cold chains, there is no reefer trucking, there is no storage, there is no retailing. So really from farm to the fork, 40%. Now that's a huge impact.
The laws are already so draconian. So if you look at the Prevention of Food and Adulteration Act, or if you look at the Weights and Measure Act, or you look at the Shops and Establishment Act, some of these have got criminal provisions to proceed against directors for things which they have no control over or which they have nothing to do with.